Good morning, America. How are you?
Good morning, America. How are you?
Got some work we got to take care of. Got a bunch of stuff we got to take care of. We ain't gonna fix that. But we are gonna fix this. Got all the new parts. Let's see. You got a good angle of it. Can you see? Can you tell what happened here? How about there? Yeah, it's crinkled. It's moved over. Just got to get replaced. That's the culprit there. We're gonna get this in the shop. Already got all the new parts. It's a $200 repair and parts. Not a big deal. I got a lot of video, a lot of content coming out about these bunch of motors. Aluminum block, super clean, just regular 5.3. That's actually, I think, a flex fuel. So VIN Z, if you're a GMT 800 guy, that's a VIN Z motor. And that's 2011 6.0 short block. All right, I'm gonna get the F250 back in here. We're gonna pull that fender off and get it back on the road. Took about an hour and the fender's off. Total bear. Had to take the death wheel to it, had to take the cutoff wheel to get a couple of bolts off. Still gotta remove the bolt head to just cut the flange off there. It's nice and rough. Radiator support back in so that it fits. Pretty much everything here is just gonna go right back into place. So as much as that sucked, it's only gonna take a couple hours. Well, as much as it sucked to take it apart, and as much as it sucked that it's broken, it's only gonna take a couple hours to fix. 200 bucks in parts. I say that's not the worst thing to ever happen. The low heat, and I will repair that before I put the fender on. Good morning, America. How are you? Good morning, America. How are you? Got some work we got to take care of. Got a bunch of stuff we got to take care of. We ain't gonna fix that. But we are gonna fix this. Got all the new parts. Let's see. You got a good angle of it. Can you see? Can you tell what happened here? How about there? Yeah, it's crinkled. It's moved over. Just got to get replaced. That's the culprit there. We're gonna get this in the shop. Already got all the new parts. It's a $200 repair and parts. Not a big deal. I got a lot of video, a lot of content coming out about these bunch of motors. Aluminum block, super clean, just regular 5.3. That's actually, I think, a flex fuel. So VIN Z, if you're a GMT 800 guy, that's a VIN Z motor. And that's 2011 6.0 short block. All right, I'm gonna get the F250. Good morning, America. How are you? Got some work we got to take care of. Got a bunch of stuff we got to take care of. We ain't gonna fix that. But we are gonna fix this. Got all the new parts. Let's see. You got a good angle of it. Can you see? Can you tell what happened here? How about there? Yeah, it's crinkled. It's moved over. Just got to get replaced. That's the culprit there. We're gonna get this in the shop. Already got all the new parts. It's a $200 repair and parts. Not a big deal. I got a lot of video, a lot of content coming out about these bunch of motors. Aluminum block, super clean, just regular 5.3. That's actually, I think, a flex fuel. So VIN Z, if you're a GMT 800 guy, that's a VIN Z motor. And that's 2011 6.0 short block. All right, I'm gonna get the F250 back in here. We're gonna pull that fender off and get it back on the road with some new parts. All right, in this lighting, it should be a little clearer to see exactly what happened. So hit the side of the truck and just buried this. And from the looks of it, shifted things over a bit. It's a little bit of a problem. We will address it. We will fix it. That much space is definitely something we're gonna have to figure out. Not gonna work too hard on it because this truck, well, doesn't really need it. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to work. But I think step one here is let's just get the hood popped, see if that works. Oh, bud, you mind popping it? Oof. Oof. Let's see. I guess it was already undone. All right, not too crazy. What do we got to do? We got to pull some of these things off of it, some of those things. What I mean is unbolt, 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 something like that. What I'll do is I'm gonna use the new fender to find all the parts, all the points where it gets bolted on to make this easy. And it should be, but nothing ever is. So what am I saying? Let's just get to work. Oh, look at that. The bolt's already removed. Fantastic. Took about an hour and the fender's off. Total bear. Had to take the death wheel to it, take the cutoff wheel to get a couple of bolts off. Still gotta remove the bolt head to just cut the flange off there. It's nice and rusty. As much as it sucked to take it apart, and as much as it sucked that it's broken, it's only gonna take a couple hours to fix, 200 bucks in parts. I say that's not the worst thing to ever happen. There was one casualty. My dumbass broke the airbox. But this is not an AC truck, so all it does is blow heat, and I will repair that before I put the fender on. And just like that, we're back. It's another day, another night. It's nighttime. We're gonna be working late tonight, but that's okay, because the fender is already off. The hard part is over. Tonight's gonna be one of those weird nights for me where I gotta do something that I wasn't planning on doing, which is get this running and out of the shop, because I wanna get back to working on engines. And I said I was gonna do this, so I'm gonna wrap this up tonight. So hopefully it goes together really quickly. How many bolts came off and how many bolts are gonna be used to put the new fender on? Well, we're gonna find out. So before I put the new fender on, this old fender actually has some goodies I gotta rob off of it on the inside. So I'm gonna get this laid up on the tailgate so I can figure out pulling off those pieces, and let's get this back together. These are all the bolts that came off of the truck. I'm gonna try to use all of them when I put it back together. I got the fender up on the tailgate so that I can get a better look at what's going on here. Doesn't seem like it's that hard to remove. Two 10mm bolts, and the bracket should come off, and then loosen that up. And we'll make sure this goes on the new door. These clips I'm gonna need. It's only one clip, but you never know. We might have to borrow some pieces off of this to make the new one fit, because surprisingly not that rusted. Rusty, but surprisingly not as bad as I thought it would be. I bet a lot of this, yeah, you can see where this is painted. Not gonna reach. How much extension is too much extension? You never know. And naturally, before I put this back on the truck, we're just gonna rebuild it real quick. Make it look like new. I found a factory paint booth set up in the shop back when the pros used to work here. And you don't need to worry about the color running, because, well, the floor catches the rest. And floor needs paint too. Don't let anybody tell you different. Well, that's been professionally refurbished. All right, now we gotta wait for the parts we just refurbished to dry. And when this truck smacked the corner, it shifted everything. Go ahead and close the hood and let's see how bad the alignment is on it. Oof. Oofda. There's a solid 1/2-inch gap that's gonna come down there. Let me remove my hood prop 3000. Let's have a look. Fairly acceptable, but we're gonna see if we can massage that back into place before that new fender goes in, because I have a feeling we're gonna want it to square up here before we put that fender on. So let me see what I can figure out. Okay, this is what I come up with. A Keeper 3,300 pound strap hooked to leaf springs, come up over the fender, touching no plastic, to the corner of the radiator support, core support, down to the bumper. Now, my theory here, the math that I did, is this bumper is a lot stronger than this fender. And this fender only needs to come in a skosh. So I got a little bit diagonal, trying to distribute the pull on it. But I think, and I want to set this up in a way that we could see the difference. All right, so now I got you set up. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna give it a couple of cranks and see if I can get it to move at all. We're under pressure now. That gap is almost closed to where I want it to be. Maybe some smacks? No. Don't worry, I didn't dent it. Can't really hit it with anything. All I can do, give it a couple of pushes. Let's tighten it another click. One more. That pretty much closes that gap, at least back down to an acceptable level. Now here's the thing, when I let go of this, it's gonna wanna pop back out. So I'm either gonna need to find another place to put pressure on it, or give it a couple extra cranks so when it bends back into the shape that I want it to. Let's go for it. Let's give it 3 more cranks. All right, now that's for real. That's good enough. Dunsky. Bodywork achieved. This is poor man's frame bender. Woo, baby. And out right now. That's way better. That's acceptable. We took that down from almost a 1/2 inch to that. That's totally fine. I would call that professionally repaired. That'll be $500, please. I should at least attempt to straighten this out before I put the fender on.
Pow, right in the kisser. 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 Pow, right in the kisser.
Just need, so there's 2 pegs that hold the fender in place over on this side, and I just need this to be facing the right direction. And we're good to go. A little bit more. That should do. All right, I'm done carrying. This airbox might have gotten damaged during the demo, so I'm gonna do the right thing and fix it before I put the fender back on. But I never said I was gonna fix it the right way. I just said I was gonna fix it. But just to help it bond a little bit, I'm gonna hit it with the heat gun, get it to melt in just a skosh. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Putting this fender back in its place. So I'm using these 2 holes as guides. This needs to come back about 1/3 of an inch so I could drop the bolts in, and then we'll keep working on getting this thing all lined up and squared up. I paused the time lapse to show you what I'm dealing with. I got these 2 screws sitting in here very loose, and I'm just looking at body lines, and I see that the fender down here is kicked out over the door, and I'm looking at the body lines here. I see this could come up a little bit. Basically everything could come up about, say, less than a 1/2 inch and would fix it. So I got to pulling on it a little bit, and I can pull the whole core support. So this fender is going to be a structural part to the front end of this vehicle, and I knew it was because of how rusty it is. But yeah, I got to figure out a way to prop this up a little bit so I can get a hole and get this fender located. Now, there's a storm cooking up something fierce outside. It is pouring rain.
Here's Al Sleet, your hippy-dippy weatherman.
Hey, okay, what's happening? Hey, pasa. Okay, what you call your pasa?
But the fender's on! Look at that. Those body gaps aren't any worse than they were when we started. No, they're a lot better. Came together. The one issue I have is right here. The fender, this fender seems to in a little bit. Be honest with you, we could just massage that out. This side, the gap's gone, it closed up beautifully. So all in all, pretty happy with it. I was messing around to get the lights back in. I got some broken bolts I gotta cut out. And just like that, it's the next morning. All right, it's the next morning, and we're done. Fender's on, gaps okay. Gaps bad, nothing we could do about that. The light bezel is on, the lights are in. I thought we had this marker light, the blinker light. Don't have that, so see, $200 and a couple hours, good as new.